Hey guys, Neely here. Today is Saturday and I have a busy weekend going on, but I did want to pop in for an informal chat Q&A video, try to get that done. I have not even gone through all the comments and gotten them all organized like I did last time. I just have my computer open in front of me. I got a new phone and it's amazing. It's a great phone, but the camera, it keeps like changing lighting depending on there you go. See, it just did that. It's trying really hard to be super smart for me, but I'd rather it just stay in one lighting. Anyways, so I'm just going to be kind of going through these comments and answering and chatting about any of the questions and stuff that's here. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump in. I don't want to make this one too terribly long, so I will just go for it. The first one is from Chantal, I think. She says she'd love to hear the reasons why we homeschool. Is it religious or family culture or time with your kids? And the answer to that is probably all of the above. First of all, my husband and I were both homeschooled all the way through. And so it's kind of all that we know. Like if we ever decided to send our kids to school, it would be like entering into a whole new world. So part of it is just, this is what we know. And so we're just continuing with that. We're happy with it, with how it worked out for us and with the flexibility that it offers. And so that's why, part of the reason why we have continued to homeschool. Also, it is very important to us to have me home with the kids. Like when we talked about having a family, it was a really big priority for us that I not have to work outside the home. I know that's not always an option for everybody, but for us, we just wanted to do whatever we could to make that work. And so that's what we've done. I've found ways outside of an out of the house job. I found ways to help earn income from home, but the burden has never been on me to earn money to support the family. My husband is amazing and he always takes care of that. That lighting is driving me nuts how it keeps changing like that. Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. Anyways, so I found little ways to help. Like I had a Etsy store right when Etsy first started. I had a store there and it took off and did really, really well. And that supported us for a long time. I was working more than a full-time job at that point. That's back when I only had one child. And then oh my gosh, that's annoying. Since I have had more children, that has kind of, it gradually decreased just with the popularity of Etsy. I would have had to do a lot more advertising and stuff to get the number of sales that I had been getting. And it just worked out really well that my sales just slowly kind of dropped off as I had more kids, and now it's not something that I want to spend my time on anymore. It was good for a season and I learned a lot and it was great, but now I'm kind of in a different season and this YouTube channel has kind of been the thing that I've been using as my hobby and another way to support the family. So I'm pouring my time into that more and letting the crochet business kind of go by the wayside at this point. So that's just a few reasons that we choose to homeschool. I've kind of just had to make my way through it. I'm not an expert in any means, besides having gone through it myself as a child. So I don't feel like I'm qualified to give advice or really show how to homeschool. I just do it and kind of figure it out as I go along, and so far it's worked out. So the next thing I wanted to chat about was I've gotten actually a couple comments from people asking about the sweet potato flour I use. I use the sweet potato flour for breading chicken strips, for breading fish, also for the grain-free waffles that I make. I can use it in the Dutch baby pancakes. It's kind of interchangeable with arrowroot flour if you're familiar with that. And I had some people ask about if it's called a different name. Tracy asked, and then there was somebody else. And it does seem like that it's often called sweet potato starch. It's similar to arrowroot, where arrowroot powder, arrowroot flour, arrowroot starch are all the same thing. It's just different names for the same thing. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly sure that the sweet potato flour that I use is also called sweet potato starch. So if you find sweet potato starch at your Asian market, that's probably the same thing that I'm using. It's a white powder. It's not, you think of sweet potatoes as being orange, but it's not an orange powder at all. It's a pure white starch, and it's very similar to arrowroot or to cornstarch. So I hope that addresses any of those confusions. If you want to check the nutrition facts to see if it's similar to what I use, if you're going to be using it in one of my recipes, it has 30 calories per tablespoon and 7 carbs per tablespoon. So if your sweet potato starch is similar to that on their nutrition facts, then it's probably the same thing, and if it's the pure white starchy powder. Next question is from Robin, and she asked after my last Q&A where I talked about the Africa trips that I went on. She was asking about how I did school through that time. I went for a year as a volunteer with Teen Missions International from ages 16 to 17. And the way that worked out is I was homeschooled all the way through, and I had finished high school already. And then it was kind of my year off in between high school and college. And then when I came home, I started up at a community college. So I didn't attend school at the same time as I was on that 1 year mission trip. And then all the rest of the mission trips I was on were summer trips. So that's kind of how that worked out. I know that was a little confusing talking about being gone for a year when I was 16. So anyways, I hope that answers your question, Robin. All right, next question is from Lori G. She asked how I clean my Instant Pot after making bone broth. She says hers gets such a strong smell that she has a hard time of getting rid of it. My main tip for smells in the Instant Pot is storing your lid upside down so that the ring can air out. It doesn't completely get rid of the smells for me. I can still, like when I pull my Instant Pot out, I can tell what I cooked last in it, like if it was rice or whatever. Rice is the one that I can really smell it for a long time. But I have not had any problem with smells transferring. So if I have the smell of rice and then I make, broth, or if I make broth and then I make rice, I don't notice it crossing over to the next thing I make. I will say I don't make a lot of sweet items. Like if you're making cheesecakes and baking goodies and stuff, then you might want to think about getting 2 separate silicone rings so you can switch them out, one for sweet and one for savory. But I have not had a problem with the smells transferring, and I haven't done anything special to clean the rings. I just clean them in the sink with soapy water, warm soapy water, after I use my Instant Pot, and then let it air out with the lid upside down on top of the Instant Pot. And that has always worked well for me. All right, Marcy asked, first she gave me a compliment, said you have beautiful handwriting, which thank you very much. I tend to not agree with you, but thank you very much for the compliment. She says, would you ever consider doing up some printables for us that we could download and print off? And I don't feel like I'm qualified. Like I don't feel like I have good handwriting. Like it's okay, but it's not great. And then I don't know computers enough to feel like I could do a good job with that. It's very sweet of you to think I would and to think I have nice handwriting, so I appreciate that, but that's not something that I'm planning on at this point. Next question is from W. Kip. She asked about the chickens that I do in my first of the month freezer cooking, if they are frozen or fresh, and then if I am freezing them twice. So from my understanding, most of the chickens that are on the shelf at the grocery store are previously frozen. So even if you buy one that's thawed out, and I could be wrong on this is just what I am thinking. If you buy one that's already thawed out and you bring it home and throw it in the freezer, it has already been frozen once, so that's freezing it twice already. Because oftentimes I'll go to the store and if I go in the morning, early in the morning, everything on the shelf is frozen and it just sits there in the cooler until it defrosts. And then, later in the day when it's more defrosted, people are buying defrosted chickens. But so anyways, the ones that I bought this past month when I got them off the shelf, they were frozen. They were not in a freezer, they were in the regular chicken cooler, but they were solid frozen. So when I got them home, they were still frozen, and I threw them right into my freezer, and then I just thawed them the one time before I cut them up, and then I froze them again. So I am not an expert on the whole food safety stuff. From my understanding, it is not a problem, and I've been doing it forever, especially since I freeze almost everything that I bring home, and if it's been previously frozen, it's being frozen twice. So anyways, it's not an issue for me, but definitely do some research if you're concerned about that. But the ones that I did bring home were frozen, and I just defrosted them the one time this month. All right, Jennifer asked why my peanut butter was in a bowl when I was doing my freezer peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And the reason for that was it was natural peanut butter that separates the oil and the rest of the peanut butter. And it's really annoying to try to stir that up in the jar. And it was out in my cold garage where we have our pantry. And so it was like rock hard on the bottom and then the oil on the top. And so I just scooped it all out into a bowl and stuck it in the microwave for a few seconds to soften it up. And then it was a lot easier to mix there in the bowl than in the jar. So that is the reason that I was using a bowl of peanut butter. But if you use like just the regular like Jif peanut butter that's already pre-mixed and you don't have to worry about that, then there's no reason to use a bowl. It's just for the natural stuff, I guess. All right, last question, and this one I just got 30 minutes ago from Chase Turner. The question is, did I miss something? Did Ruthie change her name to Charity? Yes, I mentioned this a few videos ago, maybe in one of the Q&As, I forget. But yes, her first name is Charity. Her name is Charity Ruth, and we love the name Ruth, and since she was born, we have been calling her Ruthie. But just recently she said, Charity is my favorite name. Mom, can you please call me Charity? And so she has been transitioning to using the name Charity. So it is a big difference because she's always been Ruthie to us, baby Ruthie. But she likes the name Charity and she's growing up and making her own decisions. So we have been starting to call her Charity, and it's definitely been an adjustment. And we still slip a lot because it's hard to change a name of a child that you have called one name for their entire life, but we're learning and making it work. So yeah, that is the story on Ruthie, Charity Ruth. So that is it for the Q&As. I hope that was enjoyable for you guys. Definitely put down any questions you want me to address next week down in the comments below. And then I also go through my other videos from the week and pull questions from there. So anytime you leave a question in one of the comments of my videos, I will see that. And then I kind of cherry pick through and pull out the most interesting ones, the ones that would be the most interesting for other people to hear the answer to and talk about them. I wanted to mention that I'm not doing a soup and salad of the week video this week. I just had a busy week, and I think what I'm going to start doing is when I do my first week of the month freezer cooking, because I kind of spend the whole week doing freezer cooking a little bit each day, and I think in that week I'm going to skip my soup and salad of the week video because I'm just so busy with all the other cooking. It just adds a lot more to try to do a soup and salad. So I'll have that week as a freezer cooking week, and then the additional 3 weeks of the month, I will do a soup and salad of the week video there. So don't look for the soup and salad this week, but next week I am planning on getting one done. So that is it for my chat today. I hope you guys are all doing great, and I will see you down in the comments. Talk to you later. Bye.